Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of STARTA. My name is Jordan Taylor, and today I have a very special guest with me. He goes by the name of Jeff Fulkerson. Now, Jeff is an award-winning silversmith and jewelry artist who has been creating stunning, imaginative pieces for over 40 years. His work has been regularly and prominently featured in publications such as Lapidary Journal, Jewelry Artist Magazine, Art Jewelry Magazine, Rock and Gem, and others. He's also a contributing editor with Lapidary Journal and Jewelry Artist Magazine. With a background in construction and design, Jeff has been the recipient of numerous accolades, including a Gemmy Award, love that name, the San Diego County Fair Coordinators Cup, and the Courtney McGowan Design Award. Jeff is a highly sought-after instructor and the inventor of numerous jewelry-making products, such as the Steady Stamp, Bead Bandit, and his newest invention, the Fast Flare Anti-Plastic Forming Discs. Jeff also produces instructional videos and educational ebooks teaching an array of topics, including stone inlay, metalwork, and more. You can find Jeff at artistjeffulkerson.com. Jeff, thank you so much for making the time and joining me today.
Well, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, you know what? And just to give the people a little bit of background here, I mean, obviously, we just covered kind of the broad spectrum of what you do. And you and I have actually worked together on a couple of those instructional videos.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Been just ever so slightly helpful, just with some minor editing, but
way helpful. Way helpful.
Yeah. Well, you make it very easy. The one thing that the main reason why I really wanted to have you on here, and we've spoken about this a couple times, is you have done, in my eyes, such an incredible job of taking something that was traditionally very much not necessarily an online profession, very like trade-like, right? And have, from my perspective, seamlessly transitioned into the online business space. So I really kind of wanted to get your perspective of like, what was that journey like? How did you go from where you were before the internet was what it is today, to now having instructional videos, courses, ebooks, and all of that? What did that look like for you?
Well, I've always made jewelry and I've always built stuff, but really in the last 20 years, it's kind of evolved and changed. And it really started when I started writing articles for the magazines. That did a number of things. One, it gave me a national and international audience because of the magazine's reach. And so all of a sudden people said, oh, I know him. I saw him in the magazine. So that, that recognition is nice. And then because of the magazine, you start going, well, gee, you should probably have a website. And then you get a website, and then you start to realize when you go and teach somewhere, and one of the things that got me going actually on the videos is one of the magazines said, hey, we want you to do a video for us, and I'm like, okay. And so I did a video for him. And then it was like, hey, this is a pretty good way to go. Because if I go and teach, I think the most I've ever had in a class was like 15 students. And for one teacher trying to teach 15 people that are wielding fire and banging on, that's you got to really pay attention. It's a lot of work. And it's fine. I love it. And I love the interaction, the personal interaction. But when I do a video, the reach is unlimited. How many people can watch that video? There's no limit, exactly. And plus then, of course, if people are paying you for that video, it's like, okay. So really kind of what got me into that was starting with the magazines and then the articles and the video that I did with them. And then it was kind of interesting because I wanted to do, I'm kind of known for my inlay work. and I wanted to do an inlay video. And I kept begging them. And it kind of went on for a couple of years. And finally I said, and they said, no, that's not really what we want to do, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, well, I'll figure out how to do it myself. And I did. And then I was getting ready to film the video literally. And then they say, hey, we want to do an inlay video. And I'm like, you know what? That ship has sailed. I'm going to do it myself. And so the rest, as they say, is history. And I've made, I don't know, 20 videos or more. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So. That's amazing. Yeah, it's interesting that I'm so happy you mentioned the unlimited reach of video, specifically when you're something that's published online, right? Because how else are you going to distribute video these days? But it's yeah, exactly. It's like you said, like with a typical like brick and mortar like in-person class type business model, although the in-person element, there's truly nothing like it, and it's great, but you are limited to the number of people you can fit in the room, the number of people you can devote your teaching skills to at any one given time, right? And business hours of wherever you're hosting it, and how much time you have in a day, right?
Sure.
And with video, you can record it once, right? And then publish it, and then people can watch it or purchase it or whatever, however many times that person would like to, and potentially any and everybody in the world could get it as well. So,
well, and also with our COVID world right now, it's very interesting because the largest gym show in the world is held every February in Tucson, Arizona. And it is the largest gym show in the world. It's crazy. And it's really like 40 different shows. And literally people from all over the world come. And I've taught there for years, and people from all over the country will make a special trip to go to Tucson to do that. Well, usually by this time, here it is September when we're recording this, by this time, all the classes are already set, all the venues are already set up, most of the classes have a lot of people registered. If they're not full, they're filling up. This year, nobody's even sure if anybody's going. I saw the latest update that I had was a third of the vendors, 1/3 of the vendors that typically go there have said they'll be there. And so I kind of was lucky in the sense that I was already doing videos when this whole thing hit, because for the last 6-7 months, the only way you're going to get a class is some type of video. And I was kind of ahead of the curve in that regard, because I I went through a lot of ways of trying to get my videos recorded. And I had the first one I did, of course, when I did the one for the magazine, they had their professionals in their professional studio, and they were all set up, and that's what they do. And that was great because I just showed up, did my thing, and left. So I tried to recreate that, and I hired a professional company for the first one I did. And it was great, but man, was it expensive.
I can imagine.
It was 3 people. They brought all their equipment, all the lighting, all the sound, all the cameras, and it was fabulous. And it's a fabulous video, but boy, was it expensive. And so then I tried other ways, and I hired, individual people, and they'd come and set up maybe 2 cameras, and they'd have their little audio thing. And I had a couple people that worked for a while, and then they were on to other things. And then I had other people come, and I went through a bunch of them, and some were flakes, and basically I didn't have control over it. So I finally said, okay, I'm going to have to do this myself, and figuring out what cameras to use, what works, what doesn't work. And so all of those things I had already worked out, and then COVID hit. Right. So in that regard, I was kind of lucky in the sense that I was ahead of the curve, because now everybody's scrambling to try and do videos.
Yeah.
Because, all my teacher friends, I mean, you can't go teach. So anyway, so that in that regard, and we've talked about it. I started my silversmithing learning library, so people can become a member, and then they get access 24/7 to all of the videos that are in the library. And right now, I think there's 12, and I add at least one new one every month. So it's always continually. Here's a shameless plug. It's like $30 a month, or there's it's cheaper if you buy an annual subscription or membership. Yeah. But that's working out really well, and people are enjoying that. And we do a monthly Zoom Q&A. So it's not the same as being there in person, but it's the best we can do at this point, the way things are. So.
Yeah. And going back to your membership site, I remember, and again, I'd been helping you with the editing of the videos. And I do want to come back to the production side of that in a minute, but when I had seen your website, and I'd seen that you were selling courses kind of like one at a time, right?
Right.
Which is great because you can sell that one video to an infinite number of people, right? Which is awesome. And then when you had reached out to me saying, "Hey, I'm doing this membership library, and we're going to do a commercial for it and everything," I was that was when it really clicked to me. I'm like, this guy really knows what he's doing, and he's just in the sense
we'll go with that.
Well, the reason I say that is because there's so many people, from all different walks of life who, they might get to that point where, okay, I'm going to do a video course, right? And you have probably close to maybe a couple dozen total at this point. Yeah. But then to think of, what's another way I can reach people in a way that's efficient and effective, engaging, right? When you talk about your monthly Zoom Q&A, but also that's a good business move for you, right? And it turns into recurring revenue. And that was when it really clicked to me. I'm like, okay, not only are you obviously great at making the jewelry with all the accolades and everything, but also that you have an idea at the very least of what you're doing business-wise, because a lot of people are really afraid to make that shift, right? Because it's like, oh, well, how do I put this membership site together? What does it look like? How do I do all the things that I have to do? So I think the fact that we're now doing two different online business streams, right? And the fact that you're getting traction, I think is amazing. And I think it's a step a lot of people are afraid to take.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Because you really hit on something that's very, very important. And that is, there's an awful lot of people that are fabulous artists, but they can't get their art out there. And
right.
Basically, all that means is you're a hobbyist. You may be a fabulous artist in whatever your field is, but if you can't get yourself out in front of people, that's all you are. And it's hard because I am not a technical guy. There's a learning curve with all of this stuff. Now, I am blessed because my oldest son went to college and got a degree in computers, and he understands all this stuff. So he's set up my website. He runs all the stuff. I tell him, here's what I want to do. He says, I'll get back to you. And then he comes back and says, well, this platform will do this only up to this point, but this platform will do this. And I think we need that platform because of what you want to do. When we moved to the membership model, we had to change platforms because the old site was great for one-offs, but it couldn't handle a monthly recurring and all of that stuff. So we had to move. Yeah. And it's like moving your house. got to pack up everything, and you got to remember where you put it, and then you got to pack everything. And basically, well, he did all that stuff. But that's part of the problem that artists have, is they either A, don't know how to do that, don't know what to do, and or B, they don't know who to find to do that, because you can't do everything. Nobody can do everything. Okay. Yep. Like you and I work great together, because I shoot the video and then I send all that mess off to you, and then you put it all together, all the different camera angles, the different flubs and the audio, you add music, you add graphics, suddenly this thing comes back and I'm like, wow, this guy, who is this guy? And they're like, oh, it's me, Jordan fixed me up. And so, but that's an incredibly important part, because I've done not a lot, and I'm continuing to do marketing research. But one of the things that everybody says, all the students say, is, I hate these videos where, the person is talking, oh, just a minute, and it's dead. Yeah. A cat walks in front of them, or they go, well, we need to, oh, where did I put that? And and a lot of people, they have, they set up their phone and they're using the audio from their phone and the video from their phone. And so if you're making a piece and that piece you need to file for 10 minutes, well, that's what you get on the video. And you sit there and file for 10 minutes. I tell you, look, I got to file for 10 minutes here. So I want you to show me starting to file, and then cut to when I say, there we go, look at that. So that's the beauty of having an editor. The other thing that there's really three things. One is video quality. And having an editor really enhances the video quality. So my hat is off to you, because I got no clue. But the other thing they say is there's a lot of people that say, okay, the course is going to be up for 1 month. You have access to the video for 1 month. They hate that. And if anybody who buys my video or becomes a member of the library, they get 24/7 access until death do us part. So they can watch the video anytime, anywhere. They can stop it, rewind it. They have complete control over the video. And then the other thing is good information. And if you go online, you Google making jewelry, YouTube, and there's 1 million free jewelry making videos. And you say, well, why, Jeff, would somebody pay you? Well, the reason is, number one, like I said, I've gotten some notoriety. People think I'm an expert because they saw my name in the paper, kind of thing, right? Or in the magazines. But also, when you start watching these videos, they're not professionally done, and there's a lot of really bad information out there. There was one person that will remain nameless, and they were showing something using a hydraulic press that was actually very, very dangerous. I mean, like literally life-threatening dangerous. Oh, wow. So those are things that, if you're going to do videos for whatever your medium is, you need to understand and take those things into account, because I get feedback all the time. We love the way you do your video. We love the information you give. So those things are very, very important. And you have to marry the two. You have to marry technical excellence in the making of your product, whatever it happens to be, but you have to marry technical excellence in the video production, the filming of it, the audio of it, the presentation and editing of it. And that, because like I said, how can I sell a video when you go online and get stuff free. And I mean, I've sold thousands of videos. It's because of those things, you know. So that's what you have to do. But the good news is, what's crazy, we're talking about the internet and the reach it has. Okay, so I used to, you know, there'd be a big teaching venue in Philadelphia. Go there and teach once a year. Texas once a year. Cleveland once a year. Tucson once a year. Okay, and you draw from those areas. I have sold stuff in New Zealand, Australia, Canada, England, South Africa. How could I do that before the internet?
Exactly.
It's astounding. And so instead of, you know, in San Diego County, there's 3 million people. And even assuming that the little babies and old people are interested in my product, we'll just call it people. But because of the internet, I have access to the entire English-speaking world and the Spanish and every other language, you know. The internet really is a vehicle for getting your product out there is incredible. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, that's exciting.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine the shift from going from, like you said, doing kind of in-person classes, right? Maybe, I don't know if you were doing a one-on-one teaching as well, but like to go from that to now, like you said, being able to reach thousands of people all over the world. I can just as an artist, I can only imagine how exhilarating that must feel, knowing that.
Well, it's pretty cool.
You know?
And, you know, it's interesting too, because so like I said, my video library is like $300 a year. It's just a little more. I forget exactly what it is. But I know that when I'd fly to Texas or to Philadelphia and teach a class, those people were paying anywhere from $150 to $200 to take the class, plus materials. So really, for the price of 1.5, call it 2 classes, you get access to 12 at the currently right now this minute. And we just added another one yesterday. Next month we're going to add another one. So it's a tremendous value, and I am bragging, but you're getting good instruction, you know. And that's really important because there's a lot of bad stuff out there.
Yeah, like with I've seen, I think, you know, we've all seen the video where people are, you know, they're filming themselves with their phone and the phone's crooked or the audio's out of sync or whatever. And speaking as an editor, right? I've seen some things that are very hard for me to put together, right? They're not organized at all. And you know, kudos to you, because pretty much, actually, yeah, from the first video you sent me, you had multiple angles. You had, and this point right here is actually the most, like for me, it was the most impressive because it's the step that so many people forget. External audio that then gets synced to the video, because a lot of the times you have your camera 10 feet over there. It's not capturing you going, okay, and we're just going to move this over here.
Right.
There's no way that camera is going to capture that, right? And like you said, when it comes to even the quality of the information, if it's not presented in a way that is easily digestible, it's extremely difficult to kind of get invested in that content. So, and I know with you had mentioned that, your son had kind of helped you out with the more of the business tech, I guess, side of things.
Right.
And I know you and I have spoken about your wife being instrumental in helping you out as well. So I just wanted to kind of like dive deep into like, what does your, I guess, support system or like who are the people who help you to continue to operate on the excellent level in which you do?
Well, it is a team effort. Technically, my son, I'd really seriously be nowhere without him. He's set up my website. He's changed the website. When I say I want to do this, and I have no idea what it entails technically. And he goes, oh, I can figure that out. Boom, here you go. We need to do this. And I want to do this. And he says, okay, there's an add-on for, another $15 a month. So he does all that stuff. And marketing wise, my wife has been a marketing manager. She's done huge productions in all kinds of different areas, and she understands the marketing, and she's been a tremendous help with that. But we've worked at it. I know who my client is. I know who my avatar is. I know who I'm trying to reach. I'm learning more and more about them all the time. In other words, I know a lot about what they want because I've talked to them and I've asked them and I've done surveys. And there again, this is something most artists don't even think about, let alone do. The classic introverted, brilliant artist, right? Well, yeah. You can't be a brilliant introverted artist and make money unless you are really, really, really lucky. And that's a bad business model, Yeah. So as far as my support group, it really goes with the technical end. I've got great support from my son. I call him my IT guy. And then with marketing, my wife, Roxanne, just does a great job. And she's always on me all the time to get out my newsletter, which is another great way to connect with people and just keep your name in front of them. Sales and marketing tells you that you have to get your name in front of people 7 times. Why? Because when we see things all the time, we start to recognize them, and then we start to feel comfortable with them, and then we start to think they're a good thing.
Right.
And stop and think about that statement. It has nothing to do with quality. It has nothing to do, with performance or anything else. We just associate it with a good feeling because we've seen it so many times. Well, that's human nature. And pardon me?
I was just saying, yeah, it's that familiarity.
Yeah, and that's marketing. And so if you want to be successful marketing whatever your art is, you have to do that. You have to get out in front of people all the time. Now, the other interesting thing about art is you can bump to a higher level if you're just selling your art, okay? And you become a known artist. And then a piece that used to sell for $1,000 could sell for $25,000 or $30,000 because it has your name on it, okay? Right. Most people don't achieve that. Doesn't happen, but you don't have to be that person. It's nice if you are, but the way you get there is by getting your name out and getting your name out and getting your name out. And then if it falls in front of that person who can hook you up into that rarefied air of, you're now a star kind of thing. So the piece that used to sell for $1,000 now sells for $25,000. And while, that's always nice, but you just have to keep putting your name out there. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a lot of people to send me $30 a month. And by giving them quality and value, that's very doable. And whatever your art is, that's what you need to get your name out there. So as far as my support team, that's what we're doing, and that's why we're doing it.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode so far and are finding it valuable. If you're curious on how to create content like this, or any kind of video content, either for yourself or as a service to others, I want to give you access to my video editing course, Editing Enhanced. This course is designed to help you get better at editing video content and to take your video editing skills to the next level. Whether you're a complete beginner and just need to understand the basics, or you're pretty confident with editing and want to take things up a notch, this course will have lots for you to take advantage of. Now, there may or may not be a discount code in the description and show notes for this episode, so be sure to have a look out for that and head on over to starta.ca/editing enhanced to get access to the course. Now let's get back to the rest of this episode. The marketing, I think, can be a very interesting beast to tackle, right? And again, kudos to your wife, because obviously, you know, what you and her and your team are doing is obviously working, right? Because you're getting clients, you're getting customers. And if you don't mind me asking, like, do you know specifically like what kind of marketing tactics you use to reach your ideal audience? Because like you said, you already know who your audience is, what they like, probably where they are, where they're looking for things and all of that. So, and I realize this would probably be specific to your target audience, but can you dive a little bit deeper into like how you market to your target customer?
Well, we're actually just really getting geared up for that, because previously, I mean, I forget 2,500 or something email names, okay, on my list that I mail my letter out to. Okay, well, that's good, and they're loyal people, and my open rate is astounding. My click-through rate is astounding, you know, all of that stuff. But that's only 2,500 people, okay? So we're gearing up, and once again, the internet, Instagram goes all over the world. Facebook goes all over the world. And this is where my IT guy comes in. He's making up targeted ads for the learning library right now. But we can target San Francisco, or we can target New York, or the entire state of Texas, or all of those. We can target New Zealand. We can target Canada. And we can do we can do an ad for Canada, and we can do an ad for Australia, and run them all at the same time. Now, it costs some money, but I did a trial run on Facebook. And really having no clue what I was doing. And I ran a little bitty ad, cost me $12. So you can tell how impressive my advertising budget is. And but it resulted in 1 week, it resulted in 2 new signups. Well, I'll take that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll take that return every day. You know, so it's knowing who your client is, and it's knowing how to reach them. Yeah. And then reaching them over and over and over and over. So, and I try to give value, even in my newsletters. You know, I try not, as a marketing tactic, seriously, we try not to sell something every week. You follow me? Hey, yeah. We do every once in a while say, we got a new thing, get the new thing. Okay, sometimes we do that. But a lot of times I do a little blog. I talk about how do you use this tool, or a little tip to make your life easier. So I'm giving away free information that is useful, is helpful to my clients, to my market. And once again, that just endears them to you. You know what I mean? It makes me the expert, but it makes them, you know, they talk about who's the hero. And most people make this mistake in marketing. They think, I'm the hero. I'm the guy who knows everything. I'm the brains of this outfit. Well, nobody cares. My job is to make you the hero. My job is to make you the star. And when you do that, it goes back to nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you care about your clients, and make them the star and make them the focus, then people are drawn to that. People are drawn to you and to whatever your message is. So those are, once again, that's more marketing stuff. And I mean, we've done a lot of research and a lot of studying to try and, and a lot of times it's hit and miss. That didn't work. Let's try something else.
Yeah. And I think I love that you put it that way, that it's not about you being the star. Like, yes, you are the face that people are seeing and like the voice that people are hearing, but it's really about, like you said, providing the most value possible to the end user. Right. And that's what's going to build that loyalty. That is what is going to help connect or help them feel connected to you and what it is that you're saying and the way in which you're delivering your information as well. Right. I just love how you put that. And I think it's something that a lot of people can really benefit from knowing as well, too.
And one thing I talk a lot about is the psychology of all this. And as an artist, if you watch, a lot of the Facebook groups that I'm in, people all the time are all upset that somebody stole their design. And they're very protective. And on the one hand, I understand it's hard to come up with designs and things, right? But on the other hand, I got news for you. The ancient Egyptians were doing all this stuff thousands and thousands of years ago. There really probably isn't much new under the sun. You just combine things differently, but the design principles are all the same. But you have to have a mindset. I'm very secure in what I do, okay? Nobody's a threat to me. I'm not in competition with anybody. This is my mindset, okay? And I write articles on how to make stuff. So I'm flattered when somebody makes my design because that's what I'm doing it for, to help them get better. And by them making my design and getting better at their craft, it's not a zero-sum game. That doesn't take away from me. In fact, I think it enhances me, okay? We were on vacation one time. We're down in Palm Springs and we're wandering around and we're driving along. There's a bead shop. Oh, got to stop. So we go into this bead shop. And as we're walking around looking, in the case was a bracelet, my bracelet, that I'd done an article on in one of the magazines. I was flattered. I said to the guy, hey, that's kind of cool. Where'd you get that? Well, I saw it in a magazine. Somebody wanted one. I'm like, cool. So if you have the mindset that you have, in my opinion, you have to have a mindset of, I'm not in competition with anybody. If someone else gets ahead, that doesn't push me down. You know what I mean? Because then you become very free with your information. I always tell my students when I do a class, look, if you have a question, ask it. If it has nothing to do with what we're doing today, ask it. I'll do my best to answer it. Now, I know instructors that say to their students, well, we're not doing that today. And they won't answer the question. And I think that diminishes them as a teacher. And it certainly doesn't help their students. You know what I mean? So that's my philosophy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely brilliant. And also too, because the same way how and it sounds like your mission is really to provide value to people, right? As opposed to just providing yourself to people, if that makes sense. You're trying to present the information in a way that's going to be valuable to the person receiving the information. And on top of that too, right? The way I look at things is, we're not going to be in competition with anybody else because there is no other Jeff Fulkerson. You know what I mean? There's nobody else who's going to present the information the exact way that you present it, right?
What's interesting, you say that because kind of when I started on this journey, you know, my kids are all telling me, Dad, do videos. And this was 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm like, well, everybody's done videos. It's all been done. And my one son says to me, Dad, but you haven't done it. And I went, so yeah, it's all the same information really, but it's from my unique perspective and my unique style. So, and I don't say that egotistically. I say that to all those people out there that want to do this also. You haven't done it yet. You haven't presented your style. You haven't presented your unique point of view, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what's important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that I love how you brought up that your perspective at one point in time was it's been done before. But like you said, everything's been done in some way, right? Literally everything. Even when you talk about, I think they say with any story, whether it's a book, a movie, TV show, there's only 7 story types. Right? There's only 7, and it's just telling the same story in a different way. Different characters, different languages, different whatever, but it's
different location. Exactly.
It's all the same stuff, but you know, it's all in the way that it's presented, right?
Right.
So what would you say is your why? Because there's a lot that you're doing, right? Not only with teaching in person, not as much these days just due to the circumstances, but like, what is the thing that drives you to keep going, to keep trying these new platforms, right? With the membership sites, with the online video, with whatever the next thing will be a year from now, 2 years from now. What would you say is your I guess your mission statement? And that could be either from you as a business owner or just from you personally. What would you say is your personal mission statement with why you do what you do?
Well, personally, and it's kind of not a mission statement, it's the way I am. God made me to build stuff. I have to make things. I have to. So I will always make jewelry. But I also love to teach. I love the interaction. I love teaching people. I love seeing people have that aha moment. But part of the problem is when you're making jewelry, you're buying precious metal, precious stones. It's expensive. And eventually, you either have to start selling the stuff or quit. You know what I mean? So part of the business motivation for me is the fact that if I sell this, I get to make another one, you know, and I want to make another one. I had to kind of come to that because I love making stuff, and I get ideas in my head, and it's like, ooh, how can I make that work? Ooh, you know, and some ideas are incredible. And some of them you work and spend all this money, and then you go, oh, that didn't work. But you learned something. So personally, I mean, I have to make stuff. I have to. And I have to teach, and I love teaching. And frankly, the videos are more of they're a challenge, because part of the problem with when you go and teach an all-day class, okay? So if you can see this ring, can you see that ring?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I teach that ring as a beginning class one day, okay? And 90% of the students will finish the ring in a day, okay? The problem is I can make this ring in an hour and a half. If I sit down, hour and a half, here's your ring. What that means is during the day, I've showed them all the things they got to do. and usually it's after lunch, then I'm just sitting there. And it frankly can get very boring because there's nothing for me to do because people are just working. That doesn't happen with videos.
Yeah, that is very
because
true.
I'm always working, and when I'm done, and then I have to go in and put the video together in some semblance of order so that you can take it then and edit it and give us the finished product. So that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it is important for people to, as much as there's a way to market and this is just my personal opinion. I believe there's a way that you can market pretty much any passion, right? So for you, if that's making stuff, making jewelry, obviously you found a way that works for you, right? And I think that's possible with literally anything. And finding that, I guess, connecting those dots of how do I take something that I love doing or I'm really good at and enjoy doing to something that can, like you said, enable me to do that more. Right? So that I can double down on the stuff I like to do. And there's always going to be stuff that we don't like to do as much, right?
Right.
But the more you can have it be beneficial for you financially, right? It's going to put you in a position to be able to do more of that. Hopefully, if you're kind of doing that full circle, right? And
I mentioned this to you before, but one of the projects I'm working on is I'm going to make a how-to video on how to make a video, because there's so many people out there in all these different fields, whether it's, quilting or crochet or sewing or woodworking or pottery, blacksmiths. You've got all this stuff, but they're terrible videos. And so I want to give people some technical pointers, in how they can make a video or more or a bunch of videos and have their own library that people will want to watch, so they can make themselves the expert and make their students the stars. And that's that. If you can do that, you're going to be successful. And I don't care if you're making horseshoes or crocheting, booties or something. It doesn't matter. It translates.
Absolutely.
So that'll be a fun one.
Yeah, no, I'm very much looking forward to that one as well. So what, apart from your membership site and apart from the one-off videos, is there anything else that you have either kind of on the and the how-to video? Is there anything else you have on the kind of the back burner, or anything coming up, anything that you want whoever is watching or listening to this podcast to check out?
Well, I'm always putting up new pieces of jewelry. And like I said, I love selling it because that means I can make more. Really where I'm concentrating right now is promoting the library and producing more videos for that, and continuing to get better and better as far as the quality of the product. And so I'm working on that. And it's so fun because, there's a million ideas. I can't imagine ever running out of ideas of videos to make. So it's really all I'm doing. And, if you're looking for jewelry tools, I've got those on my site, and I have some stones and, and some jewelry and things like that. One thing that I try always to answer anybody who sends me a question. So people email me, whether they're a student or not, I always try to give them good information. And if I don't know, I'll tell them. And sometimes I say, hey, here's a website, go there. it goes back to they're the hero, not me. I'm just kind of the guide. So yeah, that's what's going on.
That's awesome. I love everything that you've said today. I'm so, at the risk of, blowing smoke or anything like that. I really commend you for either already having the mindset yourself and also surrounding yourself with people who are the experts in the individual things, whether it's your son, your wife, or whoever it may be.
Or the editor. Don't forget the editor.
Shameless brag.
Shameless plug, yes.
Yes. Because I think that there's a lot of people who find it very difficult to make that transition. And I think you've done a phenomenal job, even in the relatively short time that we've been working together, maybe since this year, I think, since maybe February of 2020, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I think it's great. And I think not only do you provide value to your students and anybody who is a member of your library or anybody who buys any of your courses, but also I think you provided a lot of value today with our chat, because I think there's a lot of people from all walks of life, right? Not just the younger generations who know about the Instagrams and the Facebooks and YouTube and all that stuff, but also to anybody who has something that they like to do and wants to figure out a way to turn it into a business. I think there's a lot of value in our conversation that we've had today as well too.
Good. Glad to hear it.
So with that, we'll wrap up. If there's any final words of wisdom you want to leave for anybody, by all means.
No, go out and do your passion, just go do it. And
I know usually you sign off your videos with, now go out and make some jewelry.
Go out and make some jewelry. That's right.
Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time. And I will let you know once this episode airs. And thanks. I can't thank you enough for making the time. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. You know that. Thanks, buddy.
No problem. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video.
Thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode. Hope you've enjoyed it and found it valuable. If you're curious on how to create content like this, or any kind of video content, either for yourself or as a service to others, I want to give you access to my video editing course, Editing Enhanced. This course is designed to help you get better at editing video content and to take your video editing skills to the next level. Whether you're a complete beginner and just need to understand the basics, or you're pretty confident with editing and want to take things up a notch, this course will have lots for you to take advantage of. Now, there may or may not be a discount code in the description and show notes for this episode, so be sure to have a look out for that and head on over to starta.ca/editing enhanced to get access to the course. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you again on the next episode.